it's Jen from Windrose Fiber Studio, and welcome to Weaving Wednesday. I have been making these episodes to keep me inspired to work on this hand-woven crossbody bag. This has just been one of those whips that has been hanging out with me for way too long, and it was time to get this one across the finish line. I guess to give you an idea of how long I've been working on this, Macrame was having a moment when I designed this, which is why I chose to embellish it with a little miniature macrame. I still like this design though. I still think it's cute. It's certainly one of a kind. There won't be another bag like it out there. I recycled a pair of denim overalls for the lining, and I love the little pockets on the inside. There's a back pocket giving me a nice big pocket in the back, and then one of the front pockets becomes almost like a little secret pocket in the front. So this is the bag, and what has really been holding me up is the handle. You can see I have this little sample strap crocheted here, and I think this is what I'm going to use instead of weaving one on the ankle loom. If I'm being honest, working on the strap is kind of what stalled me out again, because I had this feeling in my gut that I just wasn't going to be happy with the strap, but I kept working on it anyway. So it is time to take this strap off the loom and use this yarn in a different way. Now I just need to recover all of this yarn. This is actually yarn that I spun myself, and this is all that I have. And if I want to make the strap from this yarn, then I need to preserve all of it that I can. This is especially true because I'm planning on carrying 3 strands as I crochet the strap. This is just going to make a strap that's a little bit thicker, which I find is so much more comfortable on your shoulder. So today is much more of an unweaving Wednesday, not really a weaving Wednesday at all. And what I found, I've never pulled apart anything off of the ankle loom before, and I discovered very quickly that I needed to pull out a little bit and then cut the warp threads and then pull out a little bit more. Otherwise, the warp threads just got all twisted up like you can see here. Now, I'm going to show you really quickly the crochet strap I designed. I accidentally deleted the footage because I actually did some nice footage showing you how I decided to crochet this strap, and then I deleted it. So I'm going to show you a little bit real quick, but I like this strap so much that I made a full tutorial using a different yarn, and I will link that in the description below. So to make this crocheted strap, I'm carrying 3 strands of yarn and using an 11.5 millimeter crochet hook, and I'm working a regular chain, except for before each chain stitch, I am wrapping the beginning tail over the crochet hook front to back. So I've left a long beginning tail so that I can do that wrapping. And what that gives you is a really nice cord. Then I'm switching to an 8 millimeter crochet hook, and this is just to help to keep these stitches looking the same as those chain stitches. To work my way around the end of the strap, I'm chaining 2 and then skipping that chain 2 and working 1 single crochet into each stitch across, working back across the bottom of that cord that I just made. This is going to give me a crocheted purse strap that's right about 1 inch wide and about a 1/4 inch thick. So like I said, it's going to be really comfortable sitting on the shoulder, and I really like the look of it. In the tutorial that I mentioned, I do one more step, which makes the strap a little bit wider. So if you're ever in need of a purse strap, that might be a video that you'd like to check out. Now it's time to attach the strap to my bag. I kind of hated taking the lining out because I had it in exactly the way I wanted it. So I'm just carefully working my way around and keeping these clips in the exact same place where they are. So hopefully when the time comes to put it back, I'll just be able to replace it exactly how I had it. My favorite length for a crossbody bag is to have a strap that is 48 inches long. And so I'm kind of stretching this strap out and measuring off 48 inches or 4 feet and then seeing how much extra I have left over. The reason why I'm stretching it is because I know it's going to stretch on its own once I have my phone and my wallet in my purse. So I'm really thinking ahead and accounting for how long the strap is going to become when there's some weight in my bag. I estimated that I probably needed about 4 inches on either side sewn into the bag, but I pinned it in place and tried it on first. I even put my wallet and my phone in the bag just to see how much the strap would stretch, and I ended up switching from 4 inches to 5 inches on each side. I also kind of like the idea that there's going to be plenty of length sewn into the purse. It's just going to make the purse strap really secure. One of the nice things about this crocheted purse strap is that I left the beginning and ending tails nice and long so that I could use them for sewing. After I pin the strap in on one side, I'm just going to use these tail ends to sew the strap to the bag. I'm doing that within the seam, so I actually sewed the side seams of this purse together on my sewing machine. I kind of don't know how my sewing machine managed to go through fabric this thick, but somehow it worked, and so I have that little bit of excess on the other side of the seam. I'm going to use that for sewing, so you won't see these stitches on the outside of the bag. I'm making sure that I go upwards through the rows of woven fabric so that I'm really getting under that yarn and really making a secure hold. I am working a few extra stitches at the top of the bag, which is where there's a lot of stress on a strap and a bag, that point where the handle meets the bag. So I'm trying to make sure that it's nice and strong right there at the top. Well, this purse strap has been a long time coming, but I'm not even going to pause just yet and enjoy it. It's finally time to sew on the macrame. I'm just using a matching cotton thread, and I am going to whip stitch the top of the wooden ring onto the purse before I sew in the lining. So I'm just going to work from back to front around the top of this wooden ring, and I'm going to go around the ring enough times just so that it looks balanced and good to me. I made that sound like I was just going to eyeball it, but the truth is I can never resist breaking out a ruler. The bottom has 3 centimeters and the top has 1, and I kind of like those odd numbers. So this is where I decided to call it, and I go ahead and attach those on the inside of the purse just with a square knot. So that's right over left and then left over right, and I make a double square knot just for safe measure. At this point, I was getting excited because it practically looks like a completed project, from the outside at least, but we have one more thing left to do, and that's to sew in the lining. I'm just double checking to make sure I put the back on the back side, the front on the front side. It wouldn't really matter, but I like the idea of that larger back pocket being on the inside back of the purse. I just think that's going to be so handy for sliding in either my cell phone or my sunglasses. I don't know why, but I'm really excited about these internal pockets. Next, I had to choose a thread color, and even though that brighter blue probably matches the bag better, I went with the darker thread because I feel like that dark thread is just going to disappear into the fabric. It almost wouldn't matter because the way I'm going to sew this lining in is so that these stitches disappear. My bag lining does have a hem, so I'm inserting my needle under the denim fabric, but on the inside, or maybe I should say the outside, but basically the part of that lining that's between the lining and the outside of the bag. That was very hard to put into words, and I think I probably did not do a good job, so I'm hoping the visuals will fill in the blanks. Clearly, I'm not a sewist, so I have a hard time explaining what I'm doing when it comes to sewing. But essentially, I am going through the denim, between the fabric and the outside of the bag, and then I'm going under the threads of the woven fabric from top to bottom, and I'm making sure that I run my needle so it goes under 2 or 3 threads in a vertical motion, top down, so it's really able to grab onto the woven fabric. If I went side to side, there's a good chance that I could miss one of the warp threads, and I wouldn't necessarily be securing the lining to the weaving. What I like about this method of sewing in the lining, even though I'm not the best at describing it, is that all of these stitches are disappearing into the project. When you look at either the denim or at the outside of the weaving, these stitches are not visible at all. I finished the rest of that sewing off camera, and now we can just have a look at the completed project. Sometimes I laugh at myself a bit when I give a YouTube video a very literal name. This series, I called it Handwoven Crossbody Bag with Macrame Embellishment, and that is very on the nose. That's exactly what this purse is. But I don't know, to me, it's so much more. I mean, it was a labor of love. It was a project that I walked away from and came back to over and over again. So clearly, there was something in this bag that made it worth it to me to keep going until I crossed the finish line. I am really satisfied with the finished product. It's, I do have a tendency to make my own little weird things, and so maybe it's a little weird, but I'm going to be carrying this around town, and I'm just going to be proud of the work that went into it. It's so fun to be able to call this project done, but now that ankle loom is free, and I'm really excited to try my hand at some card weaving. So I think that is going to be the next weaving project I embark on. I'd be really curious to know what you're working on in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching and joining me today, and I'll see you next time.